Hi, welcome to Elizabeth's Kind Cafe. I'm Elizabeth Katzman, and joining us today is Elaine Green. Elaine Green is the Executive Director for the Dearborn Animal Shelter. So Elaine, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us today.
I'd like to start out with maybe if we could explain the difference between the Friends for the Dearborn Animal Shelter and the Dearborn Animal Shelter.
The Friends for the Dearborn Animal Shelter actually is a nonprofit organization that contracted with the city of Dearborn to operate and manage the Dearborn Animal Shelter. We took over operations back in '96 and have been with them ever since.
Okay, and our other guest today.
This is Poppy Jr. He's a Chihuahua that came from the west side of the state. Another animal shelter took him in. Apparently, whoever had him couldn't keep up with his little antics. So we got contacted because we've had some experience placing Chihuahuas in the past. And right now, Poppy has been with us for about 5 weeks. He's looking for the right home. He's about 10 weeks of age and a little bit of a handful, but we're working towards socializing him a little bit better.
And how many animals would you say you have right now at the shelter?
We probably are a little up in population. We've been having some puppy explosions, which is kind of unusual for this time of year. We're probably about 50 dogs, and for cats, we're probably about 150 right now.
And how many on average are getting adopted each month?
Typically, it depends on the season. It goes seasonal. Generally, through the holidays, we adopt more than we do in the winter months, and then it catches up in the summer also. We place about 100 a month. 30% are dogs and puppies, and 70 are cats and kittens.
Okay, and let's give everyone some reasons why they should come to a shelter instead of going to a pet store.
Well, first of all, it's a good deal. It's economical to come to an animal shelter to adopt. Most of the pets are already spayed or neutered. When you adopt them, they've had their initial vaccinations, heartworm tested. We at Dearborn also give them a microchip to ensure that they will stay safe and happy in your home. And we do temperament and personality assessments. So when you come to the shelter, we interview you and see what your desires are for a pet. And we try to match the right personality of pet with your lifestyle and family needs. Okay.
And what are your feelings? You know, I have strong feelings about pet stores and puppy mills and that sort of thing. I think that a lot of people don't understand what's wrong with going to a pet store, and it's so attractive because you're walking around, you see a cute puppy, and the kids are just dying to play with it, and it's an easy sort of impulse buy. And what would you say to?
Well, that's part of it too. You don't want to buy on an impulse. You really have to think it through. A lot of animals end up in shelters because of impulse buys. It takes time and effort, especially if you're looking at a puppy or a dog, as far as care and maintenance for them, and it can be expensive. Unfortunately, most of the animals that end up in pet stores come from puppy factories, which are commonly called puppy mills. And basically what puppy mills do is they have female dogs and male dogs that live in cages for virtually their whole life. And all they do is breed them, and the puppies are born, and they wait until next time the dog comes in season and breeds them again. It's not the right way to treat an animal by any means. It's certainly not a great way for puppies to be born and raised because they need socialization. These animals do not get the human interaction that they need to become sociable creatures. And then if they're not very sociable, they're going to be difficult in your home. So when you buy a puppy from a puppy mill, you're perpetuating that cruelty that goes on.
And for people who are looking for purebreds, do you have purebreds at the shelter? Or?
Yes, absolutely. Most shelters see about 25% of the animals that come in are purebred animals. So if you're interested in a specific purebred animal, there's a couple things that you can do. You can call your local shelter and ask to be put on a wait list or a wish list. They may even have one available at that time for you. The other thing you can do is go on the internet. There's some internet organizations. Pet Finder's a great one. You can go into their search mode and put whatever type of animal you're looking for. It doesn't even have to be a dog or a cat. And you can press a button and they can tell you where those types of animals are all over the country and in your backyard too.
And if somebody's having a problem with an animal that they already have in their home and they're thinking of maybe getting rid of them, do you have services that could help them keep that animal in their home?
We do. At Dearborn, we do behavior counseling. You can give us a call and we can try to help you through the issues that you may be having. If they're simple enough that it would only take a conversation and some suggestions. We also do offer pet training that you could come to the shelter and we could help work with your pet.
And one of the things you mentioned that I find to be interesting is the idea of putting a chip into an animal. How does that work?
We do, it's called microchipping, and basically what it is, it's a microscopic chip. It's it's not really microscopic, it's about the size of a piece of rice. And it's injected with a hypodermic needle between the shoulder blades of the animal. It's relatively painless. A lot of times we'll do it when they're anesthetized for spay or neuter surgery, but it can be done when they're awake too. And basically, most of the shelters and pounds in the area have scanners. And so when a stray animal comes into a shelter, what they do is run a scanner over the shoulder blades to see if the animal's been microchipped, and then a unique number comes up in the scanner that's registered to the person. It's a great thing, especially for cats, because a lot of people have a problem keeping collars on their cats. Mm-hmm. And we get, unfortunately, the majority of the stray dogs that come into our shelter don't have collars and tags on. So I don't know if it's a matter of people not putting collars and tags on them, but a microchip could save their life if they use that life-saving technology.
Does the microchip have medical information or only their
No, it's just a unique number, and it depends on the company that does the chip and how many digits are in the number. It shows on the scanner what company that made the chip and the number, and then you contact the company and they can tell you who sold the chip and who it's registered to.
And it can be put into an animal regardless of age, if they're an older animal?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The smaller animals, they usually want to be at least 2 pounds because the needle is a little large to put in a small animal. And if you have a small animal, I might suggest that you definitely go to your veterinarian and have him suggest how best to implement the chip.
Okay, great. So we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about maybe some specific examples that you have of animals in your shelter and how they got there and that sort of thing.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Don't walk. Don't walk. Walk. Do not enter. Hot dogs. Definitely like hot dogs. Motorcycle club. Everything must go. Ghostly ghouls. Don't look at that, Teddy. Body piercing. Ouch.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Hi, welcome back to Elizabeth's Kind Cafe. I'm Elizabeth, and we are back with Elaine Green. Hi.
Hi.
So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some specific situations you have at the shelter. You mentioned that this Chihuahua came to you because you had an influx of Chihuahuas in the past. Could you explain a little bit about why that is?
Back in July 2009, we got a call that there was a gentleman who was a resident of the city who had some Chihuahuas, and it needed investigation. Upon further investigation, we found that he had over 105 Chihuahuas in his house. Needless to say, the dogs needed to be removed, and they all came to the shelter within 3 days. So our little shelter, who has accommodations for about 35, 40 dogs at a time, grew to 140 in a matter of a couple days. And it was quite an experience. We had never really dealt with such a hoarding situation on such a grand scale. We've had cat hoarding situations, you know, in the numbers of maybe 20, 30, 40 cats, but 105 chihuahuas all at once was a new experience to us. I'm happy to say that our staff and our volunteers really stepped up, and the community really helped us out in taking care of all the dogs. We have been working with some of them still. Most of them we were able to place right away.
How many are left?
We have probably about 6 that are still in foster. You'd have to understand that these dogs were living in a situation where it was one man. Sometimes, I'm not really sure how he fed them or how he gave them water, because the situation in the house wasn't really conducive for much movement whatsoever. And so I think they kind of were used to scavenging and hiding their, you know, their food. A lot of them still retain those behaviors as they're into homes where they will hoard their food or their toys and hide them from people and other animals. But some of them weren't, I don't think ever were really touched by human hands, and so they were very, very frightened when we went in to get them. And it has taken quite a while for us to help them through this traumatic experience. And some of them I don't think will ever be a lap dog like this that will sit here and...
I think Poppy's asleep.
Yeah, good
That's
thing,
so
huh?
sweet.
But we have learned a lot from this experience on the resilience of animals, and if you have the time and the resources, that you can bring them around.
What happened to that man? Was there any type of prosecution involved, or?
He he did admit responsibility to cruelty to animals, and he is in a situation where he's in a group home right now, receiving the therapy that he needs.
I mean, I don't know what his exact situation is, just know from watching these hoarding shows that a lot of times it's just sort of love gone wrong, that these people just fall so in love with animals and they feel like they're doing the right thing, but everyone's only capable of caring for so many animals without...
And some of the people don't have the resources to sterilize the animals, so they're reproducing in their home, and they're actually perpetuating something that they're trying to rescue them from, which is neglect and cruelty. Yeah, you're right. A lot of people feel that they were put on the earth to rescue these animals, and they're actually doing just the opposite, but keeping them confined in their home and not giving them opportunity to have a better life.
And again, it's such another example of why it's so important to spay and neuter the animals, because if they were spayed and neutered to begin with, it never would have developed into that situation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And do you offer that service at the animal shelter to people who maybe are having a hard time affording that operation? Or
we do have a program for cats, low-cost sterilization vouchers. We don't have a clinic on site, so we have to partner with area veterinarians. We also do outreach for bully breed dogs, because that's another issue with a lot of shelters in the area where we see an influx of pit bull type dogs being brought to shelters. So we're working really hard on reducing those numbers also.
And what other types of animals do you see come in the shelters besides cats and dogs?
We've had all kinds of animals. We've had a Siberian lynx that someone was keeping as a pet and it had escaped from their home.
So how big is a lynx then?
It was probably about 40 pounds. They had it in their basement. Somehow it got out of the basement window and was wandering the neighborhood and terrorizing everybody. We've had alligators, large snakes, boa constrictors. We've had goats and sheep, all kinds of little farm animals. And we get wildlife too that come in. Sometimes people will find an orphan animal, a wild animal like a raccoon or a squirrel, and want to rescue it, and so they take it in and start raising it as a pet, and that is probably the worst thing you can do because they're not going to be domesticated animals. And so there you have a wild animal that's 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and
Right.
it can't adjust to either way.
Right, they don't know how to take care of themselves in the wild, so you
Right.
can't just let them go. And a raccoon is never going to be able to live in a house.
Not safely.
Not safely for anybody.
The average person would not be able to take care of a raccoon properly.
Right. And you can see how it happens, you know, someone's
Absolutely.
kid goes in the backyard and comes in with this little baby, and you think, oh, we'll just nurse it back to help.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way. It's not fair to anybody in that situation.
And there are resources out there for situations like that, experts that know exactly how to take care of them. So the best thing to do is call your local shelter if something like that happens for their advice.
And the other animals, farm animals and alligators, the exotics, are people ever allowed to have those in their homes? Can they get permits, or is it?
It depends on the exotic, but we don't ever recommend that people get exotics as pets. They require specialized care, and if people don't have the resources to give that to them, then they end up in a situation where they end up homeless or be euthanized because there's no place for them to go.
And do you have rabbits at all, or
We
sometimes
get
people are looking
rabbits,
to?
and we get quite a bit of chickens and ducks and those types of animals. And we usually try to find placement for them in a situation where they're what's best suited for them.
Right. Well, now that urban farming is becoming a little bit more popular, and people are thinking about having their own chickens to get their own eggs, I would think that the chicken population might be.
Yeah, they would need to discuss with their city though, because some cities have restrictions on what you can have in the city. I know in our city, Dearborn, it's not legal to have chickens and ducks in your yard.
Right.
so.
Some cities will let you have one, some won't let you have any, and so
Right.
then people will go out and get a chicken or a couple chickens and think it's okay, and they haven't checked with their city to see if
Right.
it is, and then all of a sudden, what are they going to do with these chickens?
Right.
And what do you do? Because I wouldn't think you have the facility to take care
Well,
of.
we have created a network of friends that will help us out in placement on the animals. They take them and they keep them forever. They're not going to have them for Sunday dinner or
Right.
anything like that.
Right, exactly.
So they'll keep them, and they usually have the facilities, a farm facility to keep them.
Well, I appreciate you coming today, and Poppy also is just a doll, and
We
I'm
tied him
hoping
out.
to get him adopted quickly. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for joining us at Elizabeth's Kind Cafe, and please stick around because I'm going to show you a recipe at the end of the show. Today we're going to be making energy bars, and I'm being joined by my son Noah. Noah, you want to look and say hello?
Hello,
Noah, how old are you?
I'm 4.
And do you love energy bars?
I love energy bars.
Do you like helping mommy make them?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's tell everybody how to do it so they can make it at home too. So we're going to take a half a cup of peanut butter.
Okay.
And Noah, if you want to take this peanut butter and put it in that bowl, that would be very helpful. And just scoop it out of there.
Will I scoop it out of there
You can
all by
scoop
myself?
all by yourself. And we use organic peanut butter. When you look at a can or a jar of peanut butter, the only ingredient should be peanuts, just ground peanuts. Because if it has more than that in, chances are that it has hydrogenated oils, which are really bad for your heart. So, here, wait, let me take that little piece out. So we got a half a cup of peanut butter, and then Noah, do you know what we're gonna add now? And so, you're not eating this, so I'm not gonna worry about him licking the spoon because we all share in this family. You can implement whatever rules you want to at your house, but here we eat as we go. No, you wanna hold this? So now we're gonna do a half a cup of honey. And honey is really good for your immunity, and it's best when it's locally raised. We get our honey at Whole Foods, and it's from a town close to where we live. Some honey is made in China. The bees are treated poorly, so it's best to look at the honey that you're buying and make sure it's close to home. So we've got the peanut butter, we've got the honey, and now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Noah, do you want to help hold the tablespoon? All right.
I could do it by myself.
Okay, are you going to dump it in? Good.
I taste some.
Well, we'll taste it after, and then we're going to do 1 more tablespoon.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do a tablespoon of canola oil. No. Here, hold it. We're going to do 1 tablespoon. And I like to let the kids help because I think it's important to give them a sense of, Bunny, come on, we're going overboard. It's good to give them a sense of where their food comes from and an appreciation of how it's made, that it doesn't just appear.
I could do it by myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. And now, no. And now we're going to add a 4th. Hey! We're going to add a 4th of a cup of, no, you want to help me with the brown sugar? How much are we going to add? We're going to do a 4th of a cup. Right? And again, organic always when possible. Now, would you want to dump this in?
Yeah. I taste some.
You have a little bite. And now dump it in. All of it. Okay, now we're going to put this on the oven for about 2 or 3 minutes, just until the peanut butter is melted. We'll leave it back here and just keep our eyes on it.
So, Mommy,
We'll stir it up periodically throughout the next
will you
couple
give me a
minutes.
spoon?
You want a special spoon?
Yeah.
Why do you need a special spoon, buddy?
Because I do.
And I like to, oops, you want to grab it? And I like to use wood spoons when I'm cooking with metal because I don't like the metal on metal.
Mommy,
So we're going to stir it up.
was it I taste some honey?
Okay, you already had some honey. You know what we're going to do now? We're going to do 2 cups of brown rice. And this is a great alternative to... You want a little bit? Yeah. Here, hold this. It's a great alternative to Rice Krispie treats because this is going to, this brown rice, whoops, that's about 2 cups. Okay, so we've got 2 cups of brown rice and now we're going to do 2 cups of rolled oats. This is going to have a lot of fiber, which is important. Yeah, there you go. Which is important for all of us. All right, go ahead. But especially for kids because it helps sustain their energy level so they don't, now you can dump it. So we don't get the crazy highs and crazy lows. You want to keep their energy level consistent. With my kids, it's consistently high, as you can tell. So you want to dump it in there?
I need it more.
And now we're going to do a 4th of a cup of wheat germ, which is great for folic acid. You want to hold that, buddy? And all right, and then wheat germ, after you open it, you've got to keep it refrigerated. And now we will do a 1/2 teaspoon sea salt. Noah, you want to do that?
I'm eating it.
And we're going to check on our
I taste
peanut butter
it.
mixture over here. Yeah, honey, you can taste it. So yeah, when you're cooking with kids, just remember it's important to have patience. The whole idea is that they are going to have fun. So you know, let them try it, let them make a mess because you want it to be a positive experience that you can continue. So now we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon.
I could do this.
Well, you can hold it and then dump it in for me. That would be great. And then, Noah, would you like to stir this up?
Yeah, okay.
But don't make tons of noise with that spoon, okay? Because it's going to be like, like that, right? Well, look at how good you're doing that, Noah. Proud of you. And now that the peanut butter mixture is about done, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. You just want to do that at the very end. Stir it up. And now we're ready to mix it all together. So, Noah, can I check on this for a second? Look at what a good job you did, honey. So proud of you. Yummy. So do you want to step back for a second, honey? Now we're going to add the mixture from our stove in with our dry ingredients. So Noah, step back, 'cause this is hot, okay, bud? All right. And now, honey, Mommy's gonna stir this all together because this is super hot, right? And then, but don't touch it because it's hot, all right, sweetie? So we're gonna mix all of this together. just like you would with Rice Krispie treats. And then we're gonna put it into a greased pan. You can spray it with Pam, you can use the wrapper of a non-dairy butter, whatever you like to do.
Mommy,
Yeah, honey?
this is gonna be now.
We're gonna add some of this, so then we have our,
Why do it? Why put add in it?
sure. So we have about a half a cup of sesame seeds, half a cup, I'll stir it up, a half a cup of,
Wait,
well no,
no,
because this is still hot.
I help you.
You can do, we're gonna dump it in the bowl. We have half a
Wait,
cup of,
help
no,
you.
hang on for 1 second, quick. Here, you stir it while I tell them what it is. So it's a half a cup of sesame seeds, a half a cup of pumpkin seeds, and raisins. So the seeds are a great source of fiber, magnesium, potassium, and they do have fat in them. So it's polyunsaturated fat. It's the good kind of fat. It's important, especially for kids, to have fat. They need a decent amount. So fat is not something to be afraid of. It just has to be the right kind. So now we're going to take our greased pan and we're going to pour it in there and put it in the refrigerator. Well, you can eat it right now if you like it warm. But if you want it to stick together, we're going to keep it in the refrigerator for about 45 minutes. And then it's ready. And these are great. You can have them in the morning for breakfast. You can keep them around the house so you can grab them for a healthy snack. It's going to help lift up your energy level, keep it consistent throughout the day. And it's just sweet enough that it tastes like a treat for the kids, and adults like it as well. So Noah, thank you so much for helping me. Appreciate it. You did such a good job. And thank you for stopping by Elizabeth's Kind Cafe. We'll see you next time.